My name is Jesse Milo. I'm serving 174 years plus 6 lives. I dropped out of gangs over a decade ago. I've changed my life. Done a lot of work on myself to become a new person. Man, this is rough. As of today, I'm sentenced to die here. And thank you for your time.
So yeah, man, obviously my guy, man, for real. You tugging at everybody's heartstrings with your story. And it's more than it's not entertainment, it's your life,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's rough. And I get teary-eyed a lot, but that's part of the change. Once you get in touch with your emotions, right? They just come.
Right.
Whereas before we weren't even allowed to cry. As a man, like, we would kind of look at each other as weak if we shed a tear in here. Like we're in prison, right? We're supposed to be tough, we're supposed to be hard.
Right.
But it's okay to be human. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to cry. And that's one of the things that we experience in this new life, this new path.
Right.
Yeah. So earlier we talked about when you guys first came.
Right.
So last time you guys came, 2022 March. It was
2020.
2020. My bad.
Right.
2020. Last time you guys came, it was 2020 March. The whole yard was high after that for weeks. It was an amazing experience for everybody. And then COVID came. Everything got locked down shortly after that March. All the new protocols came down. They started slamming the day rooms, mandatory COVID testing, business shut down. We weren't allowed to see our families and kids. It was a very hard time for us. And it was an interesting time because it was one of those rare situations where prisoners and officers were kind of worried about the same thing. We didn't know how COVID was going to affect us. We didn't know who was going to live, who was going to die. And it was a very strange experience for us. So first going into this, I was worried about my family, my father, my mother. They're older. The rain. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened. About 8 months into COVID, to the pandemic, my nephew was arrested for murdering my uncle. And then I called home, and the next day my grandma died. And when I talked to my dad about it, he was like, it's okay. Your Uncle Butch was her favorite, and she went to escort him to heaven. And then we had an event out here. You guys probably can't see it from here, but we chalked the wall for suicide prevention. And while I was out here chalking the wall, I thought to myself, should I go in there and call my little brother? I had a phone call one day. And I said, you know what? No, let me keep chalking this wall for suicide prevention. And I didn't know at that time my little brother was involved in a murder in Los Angeles. Some guy attacked him. My little brother was defending himself, and he got arrested for murder. And so now my nephew is fighting death penalty in the county jail for killing my uncle. My little brother's incarcerated. My uncle was murdered. My grandma died. And then if that wasn't bad enough, my little cousin Elias, he took his own life. And that was very difficult. And so going into the pandemic, here we were so worried about COVID, right? We didn't even think of the mental health impact that this was gonna have on all other aspects of life, right? Because we got these young men out there that are living not right, or involved with drugs or whatever. And this is a result of that. It manifests in different ways, right? So we didn't even consider that impact of COVID. But so much has changed. And through it all, I learned a valuable experience. And that is, no matter what, we have to hold on to hope and have a goal before us and keep working towards it. And so no matter what we face, no matter how hard it is or it gets, we gotta hold on to that hope with everything we got. And my hope is to be free someday. And like I was saying earlier, my sentence is still 174 years plus 6 lives. But I feel like I'm closer to freedom than ever. And people ask me around the yard all the time, like, hey, when are you going home? I'm like, well, as of now, I don't. And they're like, but you're always smiling. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Want to walk around sad? I'm alive. I'm grateful for that. I feel blessed. There's a lot of people who aren't here anymore, who we wish could be here. And so a really cool thing happened recently. Captain of our facility is Captain Lesniak. In March of this year, he recommended me for 1170 recall and resentencing, and he submitted the paperwork. I met the requirements, and it went to Sacramento. The recall and resentencing is now with Kathleen Allison and Connie Gibson in Sacramento. And so Kathleen, Connie, if you're watching, my name is Jesse Milo. I was referred by captain of the facility, and I just hoping to get another chance to be home with my family someday. And I thank you guys for the opportunity that we even have 1170 recall and resentencing, because in the past that wasn't even possible, right? And so to have an avenue where staff can recommend you for resentencing, it really is a pathway for somebody like me who all the sentencing reform, none of that has reached me yet. I'm in this weird area because they passed a lot of youth offender laws for anyone under 25 when they committed their crimes, but they excluded certain people. Like the previous guy you talked to, Mark said, they excluded him because he got sentenced to LWOP. So it wasn't necessarily his crime, it's just how he was sentenced. And me too. I was sentenced under the strike law for my crime. And so because of that, they excluded all strikers. And so something like 1170 creates a pathway for freedom to somebody like me.
So when you say strikers, you mean 3 strike law that they have?
Yeah, so there's a weird exclusion in SB 260, SB 261, which is youth offender parole in California. And the exclusion is even as a second striker, you're still excluded from relief as a youth offender. So even though you committed your crimes as a youthful offender with an undeveloped mind or immaturity, you still don't qualify for youth parole, even though you had the same brain.
Right.
Which is kind of confusing for us.
Yeah.
We debated it yesterday in our college class,
Right.
and where they talked about valid arguments and sound arguments. It's valid, but it's not sound.
Right.
How are you going to exclude us when we have the same brain? So, growing up, I dropped out in 6th grade. My father was in jail. My mother was addicted to heroin. She didn't go to school. No one made me. Lived on the street, ran around, stole clothes from stores. Me and my cousin Petey, and he's in Ironwood right now. And so one of the cool things that's happened in CDCR is I got my GED in prison. And recently I just got a letter from Bakersfield College letting me know that I qualify to graduate for my first associate's degree from college this semester. So I'll have an associate's for transfer in communication.
Nice.
And so here I am, before I came to prison, young man in the hood, 6th grade dropout, right? And here I am in prison with 200 years and 6 life sentences. And I was able to get a GED and my college degree. I never even thought I could cut it in college. And one of the cool things that college has given me is a new perspective on life. And I know for sure if I would have had this perspective, there's no way my life crime would have happened and I would have been out there committing crime, because now I see life in a different way. And that is largely because of education. And I'm pretty proud of myself for that.
You should be, bro. That's major, man, for real. That's something to be proud about.
And another thing too is, so as a boy, like I said, my father was in prison, and so I kind of followed in his footsteps, right, coming to jail. But one thing I really haven't talked about enough is that when I got life, me and my dad traded spots. My dad stayed out of jail. And so while I've been sentenced here, serving all this time, my dad's been out there supporting me. And my father's been there. And so he's been successful the whole time. He hasn't been back to jail. And so because my dad is out there successful, it's a little more affirmation. It lets me know that I can do it too.
Oh.
And so if my dad sees this, I just want you to know, Dad, I'm proud of you and I love you.
That's love, man.
Thank you for your support.
For real. That's
Yeah.
beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
For real. One last thing I want to ask you. You spoke to Amari about what a picture does for you.
Yes.
Can you speak to that?
Uh, so many years ago in the Department of Corrections, getting a photo was very hard. You had to go to a visit to get a photo. But many of us, we didn't go to visit. We didn't get visits. We're sent to prisons far from home. Our families, they don't got money to travel. And so we wouldn't see ourselves in a photo for years, decades. And so we came in as young men, boys really, and we didn't really see ourselves grow except in the mirror. And so we got to this point though in CDCR where uh, the lengthy lockdown stopped, and we got to this point where photos became more accessible. And
Oh, is it closed?
uh, it, it was a weird thing that happened once we started taking pictures. Um, Seeing yourself in a photo, it did something to us. Because we're in here, right, and we're living, but if nobody sees us, then it's like, are we really alive? And so having a photo of ourselves, it was affirmation of our existence. And it was a real beautiful thing. It's, it's hard to explain how priceless just having a photo of yourself can be for somebody who's serving hundreds of years in prison, who's been here since they were young. And yeah, so.
That's crazy. Affirmation of existence.
And that's what it is, right? It's like that, what is it, the tree in the forest? If a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? And so if we're in here living and we're smiling and we love life, it almost feels like, what's it matter if no one sees us? If our family, our children who love us, like, a lot of us just wish that they could see us with smiles on our faces, like in here today, like what BTL brought. You guys, this event you guys brought today, we're gonna carry that with us all year long. In there, I got up this morning and I made the sign, the banner, where it says between the lines, and it says freedom. That's what between the lines represents to us, it's freedom. Uh, on the bottom, it says, I put Suicide Prevention and Awareness 2022. And I can't think of no better suicide prevention than you guys coming in, showing us love from the streets and putting on this event for us. And this event is gonna act as suicide prevention for the rest of the year. And not just here on 3B, but throughout the prison. Every yard, every person in there watching this event is gonna act as suicide prevention for the rest of the year. But you guys give us hope. And it's events like this that help us to hold on when times get hard. When we're in here, and we're struggling, we can reflect on this moment, this day. And if we have a photo of this day, we can look to that photo and be like, man, I remember that. Amari was there, Scotty was there, Tori was there. I remember that, right? And that photo, having that picture, not just in our mind, but having that physical photo.
Of course.
The picture of this, you know where it's going? It's going on my wall, my cell wall, where I live. I live in a 6x9 concrete cell. That's where I've been for the last 21 years. And that photo is gonna go right there on my wall. So I'm gonna see it every day. But she asked me right now my why. What's my why? And she didn't expand on it, but it's only maybe my why for living. And so my dream is to get out someday and make a difference out there. I'd like to mentor in juvenile hall, and maybe I could help some other kid from following in my footsteps. And I think that's my biggest why. But to get out and be there for my family, I've been in jail my whole life. And I don't really know a lot of my family. They're kind of like strangers, and I want to get out there and spend time with them. So I was just talking to her about, I haven't seen my mom in 21 years, and she tried to come see me this last week and she got denied, and that's been very difficult. But she's gonna keep working on it, and hopefully I get to see my mom soon. That'll be great. It's too late. It's too late. I'd like to say thank you to everybody out there who signed the petition for my release at change.org. It's at change.org, Mercy for Jesse Milo. Since the last time you guys came, 4,700 people have signed the petition for my release. And I want to thank you guys for that. Thank you for believing in me. And I want you guys to know that I'll continue to honor your support and And I appreciate you guys, everything you out there doing for us in here. And thank you guys. And hopefully I'll be free someday. My dream is always going to be freedom. Thank you.